Today we have the privilege and the opportunity to come to you to share some really relevant and pertinent information about money. And we say on this show that money encompasses everything. So tonight we have a very important topic that we want to share with you. This topic is very close to me because for me, being around great leaders, there's nothing like it. So we've heard it said that leaders, they're definitely not managers or someone who's a boss. However, a manager or someone who's a boss could develop skills to become a great leader. So the question tonight remains, what is an authentic leader? What is authentic leadership? And how do we exhibit authentic leadership no matter where we are positioned in life or business? So we're gonna dive into this question. Please tag, share, let your friends know that we are here every Wednesday for you and for them. We want them to be part of this community because we believe wholeheartedly that the information that we are sharing on this show is important, it's relevant, it's timely, and very pertinent. So please share, tag, make a comment. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my friend who is on the show tonight. This lady I met a while back. I didn't even remember where I met her, but we became friends on social media. And recently we got reconnected and we were having this conversation about leadership. And I thought she would be the best person to be on the show tonight to discuss this topic with me. So why don't I give this opportunity to Magali to introduce herself and to let you know why this topic is important to her. Magali?
Hi, hello, everybody. It's great to be on your show, Gabrielle. It's been something that we've discussed for quite some time, and I'm thrilled to be here today, this evening, with you and your audience, and as your special guest tonight. Leadership is something that is often discussed, but not fully understood. And it's something that evolves and grows as you evolve and grow, and as you increase your own self-awareness. True leaders, I feel, are able to not only lead other people, but grow other leaders. If somebody is in a supervisory or managerial position, but they're the only ones or a handful of people that are in the leadership over the course of months or years, maybe even longer. And, they've not successfully been able to grow others that they've encountered, worked with, collaborated with, that they might consider either beneath them or as colleagues, then I don't feel like that's true leadership.
So before we go further into this discussion, can you please again introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, what you do right now for work, and also, again, why this conversation is important to you?
Yes, I have been working in corporate America for over 25 years, different places: Boston Financial, Investors Bank and Trust, John Hancock Financial Services, Retirement Services, Investors Bank and Trust, as well as my current role in State Street Corporation, doing multiple things and growing as a leader, and being able to train other leaders as well. This is my occupation. This is my career pathway. It's something that I didn't initially think of doing. It's just something that wound up happening with financial services, being that trajectory. But as far as my background, I was born in the United States. My parents immigrated to Massachusetts from Haiti, and I have other relatives in New York, as well as Pennsylvania and Florida, Canada as well. And I was born here, first generation American, first generation college graduate, was able to, use opportunities and resources and the upbringing that my parents exposed me to in order to grow and develop talents and skill sets that have pivoted me in leadership roles in multiple sectors, financial services being one of them, but also education, also advocacy, and politics and
Yeah.
social areas as well. So
Yeah, on the show, we talk about how important your background is so important because it's the foundation. We've done shows about foundation matters. So important knowing that what the lessons we have learned as children and where we came from. Yes, you were born here, but I'm sure the culture had a big impact on you because I know in our culture, education is everything. We actually met at church. And after our relationship with Christ and, like the religion that we were taught, education was next to that, like you had to focus on education. So because we both from the community, the Haitian community, I know recently we were talking about it that on Friday we lost an icon, legend from the community. And I know when I said, oh, did you know Michael Benjamin, also known as Mika Ben? And he's like, yeah. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about everything, this sad news that we are experiencing in the community?
it's something that continues to kind of be something that I'm digesting as the awareness in our community and also in the international community grows. He was really a beloved artist. He was very talented, very creative, and versatile. All of which are skills that I feel like I've tapped into during my lifetime professionally and personally as well. It's always tragic when someone dies young, especially with someone having the success that he had, but also not only beloved by fans, but he had a very strong knit family. Not only his wife and his kids, but also his parents. And he was connected to his heritage, not only in the native country, but here in the domestic United States and internationally as well, such as in Europe, which is the place where he wound up passing away in Paris. So, it's something that it's always tragic when somebody that you don't that you think has so much more potential, so much more growth, so much more success, so many more opportunities to just, develop as an artist and a creative one at that, and a musical one at that. When they are gone suddenly and then at such a young age, it's going to be something that a lot of people get saddened by. And I was one of those people.
Yeah, me too. And my heart goes out to him. To his family, his wife, parents, because we know it's a big loss. But, it's also a big loss for the community because I do believe that he was not a politician, but do you believe that he was one of those people who helped galvanize and really elevate our morals or our just mindset and hearts as a community, because his music was very much about the country and the people loving. There's a song that I love a lot that Haiti say, so as we're talking about leadership, do you think that he exhibited leadership skills and we'll define what a leader is, but do you believe that he was one of those people who you could have said yes was a leader in the community?
He was definitely, he was a leader in different ways. He was a leader being a Haitian person who had exhibited his success through his talents and skills. He was a leader of his household. He was the main breadwinner. He was a leader in the community by bringing awareness to the music and the culture and the talent of Haitian artistry and musical artists at that. And he'd also grown from having been a member of a band, Cardi Me, to actually, growing on his own and being a front man leader, a headlining act, not only in Haiti, not only in the domestic US, but again, internationally as well, as he passed away in Europe. So he was a leader in so many different ways. His leadership intersected in many different areas of his own life as well as his fans' lives.
And we just want to emphasize that, just because you're a leader, that doesn't mean you're perfect. And many sometimes folks, especially in certain communities, have a hard time differentiating between perfection and leadership. Leaders will make mistakes, but the thing about leadership is that you have a heart and a desire to see things better. And I think when you pen down such great music that really impact and change people's lives and get them to think differently about a culture that so often is thought about in a very negative way, to me, that is leadership. Because you are moving people, you are leading people towards a better train of thought. And I think that's why I personally respected his work. I didn't know him personally, but I respected what he represented in our community. So again, my heart goes out to his family and all the people who love them so much, the Haitian community. So what is a leader? What is leadership? Because I think it's very important to define that, so that those who are watching can really understand why we're trying to kind of connect our conversation tonight. What is, we talk about this topic tonight is authentic leadership matters. What is leadership? And what do you think is the difference between authentic leadership and inauthentic leadership?
As I had touched on at the beginning of our discussion, true leadership involves growing other leaders. If you're the only one that's leading the pack and you're not inspiring other people to grow and be excited or interested, or seeking ways to grow in their own leadership as well, then you're really just someone who's got followers, and you're not really able to create a legacy or a growth, because essentially inauthentic leadership makes it all about you and not about the organization or the team or the collaboration, or combinations of these things. So an inauthentic leader is someone who might consider themselves to be a leader in their minds, but other people might beg to differ, and and others in that person's circle might disagree about the type of leadership that individual might think that they have. Self-awareness was something I mentioned earlier. True leaders are aware of their imperfections, and their humanity, and they're able to, be willing to improve upon themselves, and they're always improving upon themselves. There's no ceiling, there's no limit to where they can grow as an individual, as well as a team player and collaborator on projects or in organizations and movements such like that. So
I love the idea of leading people and also being a social influencer, because again, inauthentic leaders, it is the light is always on them, trying to shine the light on them and not on the people around them. And I was saying, I posted something and I want to share it on this live. I was going through a situation with my license, driver's license, and I needed support. And I reached out to several different elected officials and also people in the community, including the RMV, to help me out resolve the saga that I was going through. And everybody was giving me the run around. And they were in a position of leadership, quote unquote leadership, but they were giving me the run around. But I have a city councilor at large here in Boston, and her name is Woodstein Region. She and her office took the time, because Wikipedia, if you want to Google talks about a leader is someone who has social influence, but also is able to galvanize people and use them to support her deliverables. She was able to deliver because she had built relationships that were supportive of her. And I think that's so important. When you're a leader, you actually build an army around you, but that army is not only to clap for you, it's an army that you are, it's a give and take. The other, last week we talked about a show called Support Matters, and we talk about give and take, give and take. So do you believe that it doesn't matter? Do you believe that in terms of like leadership, do you need to be like, you know, Mickey Ben, he was like at the top of his game, right? Do you think you need to be the president, the CEO, or anybody to be a leader in your environment, wherever you are positioned?
No, not necessarily. You can be a leader and still step down and lead behind the scenes. You can be a leader and grow other leaders to take your place. Because I mean, static leadership is where you're the same position for decades, months, years. You know, I mean, how much are you really growing if you're not taking chances, staying put? You know, you should be able to, as a leader, see others on your team or in your organization that can pick up where you left off. Correct. So that maybe you can become a leader in other areas, work on other projects, you know, grow in, you know, your opportunities to become a leader. Being stagnant, plateauing, it's something that many leaders have done, and then they fall off and die, and they may or may not leave a legacy behind them. And that's all right if, you know, if they've decided that they really authentically want to stop. But if they are wanting to continue, then they grow people behind them to pick up and take over from where they are so that they can grow again, like a Steve Jobs, like a Bill Gates, you know, like a Jeff Zuckerberg, you know, like President Obama, you know, like Colin Powell. You know, these are individuals, and I just happen to list men, but there are a slew of women that we could equally meet those qualifications where they're not stagnant. They've grown and they've moved. They've taken on enterprises. They've pulled things away. Madonna is someone like that, you know. Janet Jackson is another individual.
Oh, sorry.
And they're not all just
I was thinking about like when you said like the idea of having a vision, you know, and also I do believe that someone who is a true leader, especially if you're quote unquote a manager, but who you have leadership skills and you are a true leader in a corporation or an organization, you will be someone who is a visionary, being able to see those who are behind you, you know, the assistant managers or someone who's up and coming and say, you know what, you know, in business, we talk about mentorship and sponsorship. Do you think a leader should position themselves to either be a mentor and a sponsor for upcoming junior managers or junior employees in their organization?
Yes, we've had that in many of the organizations and corporations that I've dealt with professionally, where there have been sponsorship programs and mentorship programs. There's a difference between the two, but I've been involved in both types of programs. I've been involved in leadership programs that have lasted months at a time. And yeah, I do think that those are important. They're pivotal. They change trajectories for the better oftentimes, because people are taking their experiences and they're grooming other people, growing other people that may not have had those same types of experiences. And in fact, in their looking at their own and sharing with their mentee or you know, the person that they're advising, you know, it's edifying to be able to do something like that, to give and keep giving. That grows you as a leader as well, being able to share the wealth.
Yeah, and I've heard it said that a manager typically will mentor you. And like you just explained, a mentor will guide you, show you the way in terms of your business or your career. but a sponsor will take the time to pick up the phone and say, Gabrielle is an excellent employee. I've seen her work and I can vouch for her. Can you please give her this opportunity, because this opportunity just opened and I think she will be the right person for it. That's a sponsor. And a leader is the type of person who will do that, because they want to lead you to better pastures, right? They don't want you to get stagnant. They're not happy with just showing you how to do your job, but they're happy to see you grow and move forward. So to me, it's very important that, you know, if you are someone out there who consider yourself a leader, who are you helping? Who's following you? And whose life have you changed? Because if the spotlight is always on you and you are always positioning yourself for what we call opportunity shots, then you are not truly a leader. You are someone who's very inauthentic. And I've seen many of them, unfortunately, in our environment, in our community. So let me ask you, with that being said, like we talk about inauthentic and authentic leaders, but do you think leaders are born this way, or they could actually learn to become, you could learn, this is something that could be learned?
I don't think that I think that's a cliche, that people are born leaders. How can you be born a leader when you're born and you have to be taught and, you know, nurtured? You know, a leader becomes a leader sometimes early and sometimes later than what others might think, you know, timeline wise. But, you know, leaders are created, they're nurtured, they're mentored, they're sponsored. And then you have leaders that are innately able to, you know, just have that vision that you mentioned earlier, and, you know, individually or with a team of people, you know, exhibit those types of qualities that you know, would consider a true leader to be. Qualities, skills, talents that you would, or most people would consider a natural leader to be. So a born to be a leader, I don't know. I mean, some people use that term because, you know, somebody's been successful, but there was work that happened behind the scenes. They weren't always where they were. They had to start from somewhere, and usually it's from the ground up. And so it's not something that I think most people are born with. I think some people have the aptitude and potential to become leaders, but some people need resources and, you know, advice and, you know, opportunities in order to really emerge as the leaders that they have had the abilities to be.
Yeah. So going back to something we mentioned earlier, like, it doesn't matter where you at, you know, what position you are occupying at the job or in your environment, either at home or at the church or any environment, any organization, you can still be a leader, because at the end of the day, you can learn gradually to stand up and be in a position of leadership where you can guide people, lead people, and show them a better way. So, but at the same time, Joe, I'm a little conflicted, because I know you have children, and I've been a substitute teacher, and I've done it for like K all the way to 12. And let me tell you, I will tell you, I've seen kids in elementary schools, and I'm like, this one is gonna be running for something. This one, because from the time they're like 5 or 6, they're like directing people, like, you know, taking positions, like you didn't have to tell them. So sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, some people may have that, like you said, innate, you know, but definitely nurtured is definitely something you have to be given the opportunity, because many times, like you said, someone will become a leader later on in life because of a life event. a life event. You lost your, we all know you lost your son to gun violence, and all of a sudden you are running a huge organization, and you thought you were this meek person sitting over here minding your business, and all of a sudden you've been thrown into the spotlight, and you like, yeah, I can take that baton and run with it. So definitely, environmental is big too, right?
Yes.
Giving children opportunities and education opportunities. And also when you go to the job, again, the sponsorship, you sit in there and they're saying, oh, she can only do this. But if you have someone who believes in you, who says, you know what, this person, I can see the work ethic,
Mhm.
and I want them to be giving them an opportunity to go to training, because again, it's learned. You got to learn it. So I'm glad we've had this conversation. And I know in addition to the work that you do on a day-to-day basis, your professional job, but you're also someone who's very involved in the community, right? In your community. And right now, currently you are running for office. So can you tell us a little bit about why you're running and why you are someone who decided to become a leader in your community?
Mhm. Well, I've had kind of a servant's heart that I realized in my 20s after having gone through some trials and tribulations, some personal life events and life experiences. And as part of my healing process and growth through that valley, kind of overcoming and getting on top of that mountain involved, you know, stepping away from my own situation and realizing that my abilities could be shared and could inspire other people in the community, but in different kinds of communities as well. Very diverse skill set that I have. And so I've been able to tap into diverse populations and mindsets and cultures, and, you know, been able to parlay what I've learned over the course of my journey and do many different kinds of things, wear different kinds of hats that involve leadership, that involve awareness, that, you know, are able to be informative in different sectors. And so this is just another extension of something that I've been doing for many years in many different capacities. Running for office was something I had considered for several years. In this particular position, I've decided that, you know, this year is the time to go for it. And, you know, I feel that there's not always a right time or a perfect time, but the time is now for me in exploring this other way that I can continue to use my educational skills and my skills in advocacy and my knowledge base to assist other families and other educational stakeholders, other advocates, other administrators, other leaders, and such on a district level that, you know, it's probably been lacking to some extent because of some of the representation that has been manifesting itself at this current time.
Yeah.
So all you can do is try.
Yeah,
So I'm here, I'm ready to try.
Yeah, representation matters, and I think so important. So could you tell our audience exactly what you're running for and where in Boston, in the Massachusetts, so that they could come out and support you?
Sure. I am, I was born and raised in Brockton, and I am currently back living in Brockton after spending some time living in Boston. And I am looking to become the Brockton representative to the Southeastern Regional School District School Committee. It's a regional school district that encompasses 9 cities and towns, and a diverse range of students with diverse abilities and potential and talent. many different types of families that intersect across demographics and class, culture, language, multicultural aspects as well. And so I feel like since I've tapped into many of those different types of things and different roles that I've taken on over the years, that it made sense for me to go for this current opportunity and really just do what I can to do right by these families and these children, these students, so that both academically and vocationally, they can continue to have doors open to them and potential for demonstrated success and growth.
Correct. When is the election?
It's November 8th. It's going to be Tuesday, less than 3 or so weeks away.
And then you want folks from which town again? Like
there are 9 towns, and that those would be Brockton, Stoughton, Sharon, Easton, East Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, Mansfield, Foxborough, and Norton.
Norton. So those folks who are watching, if you have friends and families who are in those towns, please let them know to vote for Magali. Come out and vote, because she is gonna do a great job. On the show here, we've talked about education matters, and we talked about career choices. Career choices matters because of the fact that we know that for many families, education is such a struggle, but especially those who have high school age kids. Sometimes they don't know all the opportunities that are available to them. And when I was talking to you and you were saying, like, you know what, I'm running for office, it's regional schools. Many of us are not familiar with what regional high schools look like and what they offer. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, there are different types of regional schools, but what makes them regional is that they don't serve one particular city or town. They serve multiple cities and or towns, usually at least 2, typically 3 or more. And so it's a region of communities as opposed to one particular specific community being serviced for the students that attend that particular school. They can come as regional charter schools. They can be regional vocational schools, and they can be a mix of public academics as well as trades, skills, and vocational training as well.
Yeah. So families who have youngsters who are high school age, and typically you go to a high school in your town, but how difficult it is to get access or to even know about the opportunities that do exist for families who are looking to give their kids a heads up, you know, like being able to get a trade or get maybe college credits before even graduating from high school. How difficult is it right now to get into those regional high schools?
Well, I have to say that I've been aware of this type of school model for decades, because when I was in middle school, it was something that I was able to learn about for a potential high school opportunity. But since then, over the years, it's been something that's been rebranded and marketed in such a way that it's become a lot more competitive for students to be able to get into these types of schools, whether it's in the suburbs, whether it's in the city, whether it's towns. Oftentimes there's, so much demand, but so few seats to fill that demand and meet that demand. Oftentimes, academics will play a large factor in today's application, which is a lot different than it was 10, even 20, 30 years ago. It's something that, it's not, these are types of institutions that are no longer for kids that might have been struggling consistently on the academic side. It could be for equally kids that have done well historically in their academics, as well as the different shades in between. So being that there's been more of a demand and not as much of a supply to meet that demand, it can be hard for many families to tap into these opportunities. Not everyone's as proactive as I was and still am as a parent, as far as networking with other people and other people that may not necessarily look like me or come from my culture or be from my class or live, you know, in my social and economic status. I've been the type of person who's been able to, you know, collaborate and communicate and be friends, acquaintances, and, you know, associates and colleagues with people from all walks of life. It's not something that I felt was, you know, not available to me or beneath me. But not everybody has that kind of time to put in. It takes time to do research in any domain, in any area. And I had, along with my husband, put in quite a bit of time looking into different opportunities as a parent and educational stakeholders that we are. But not everybody can. If you're a single parent, you're already challenged because there's one of you versus two. If you're an older parent that's maybe taking over as guardian, you know, custodial parent, you know, a foster parent, you know, it's not going to necessarily be as easy to tap into these types of resources, details, information, opportunities. So yes, it can be, you know, challenging for many different types of families to be able to take advantage of these opportunities. And that's something I'm looking to change immensely in multiple ways.
So you're looking for more families to get engaged, to get involved in the community, because if you're not involved, you're not going to know what's available to you, especially for your kids. And also the idea of vocational school, I think we mentioned it briefly. Some of the benefits, and you had mentioned to me that, you know, you get a trade leaving school, so you can become like a, you know, can you explain that, since you are more familiar with like some of the tangible benefits that a high schooler who graduates from a vocational school will get? That's hence the reason why it's become so competitive right now.
Right. Back in the older days, you had more of a focus on the vocation, but today's vocational school have equal amounts of opportunity for both academic potential and vocational potential. Vocations are some things like trades, jobs, careers. These are pathways that you're able to become educated in, trained in, certified in, create opportunities and be involved in getting actual work experience before you even graduate from high school. So that should a particular student decide that they want to focus on cosmetics or culinary or engineering, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, they can do that, have experience before they graduate. And if they decide that college, university, community college isn't for them, they can become an apprentice, they can get hired and grow and become certified, licensed, and actually work, become an immediate part of the workforce potentially. But then you have students that might want to be able to do that and put themselves through college so that they might not have to incur so much debt because they're able to pay their way through college. And then you have the students that, you know, may have been able to tap into opportunities for career pathways, but decide that they want to put that on hold and focus more on, you know, continuing their educational pathways post-secondary, and, you know, just focus on community college or university. So there's so many different pathways that you can do. Today's vocational schools also offer early college pathways, so that not only are you graduating with a high school diploma that has academic classes on your transcripts as well as career classes on your transcript, you might actually also be able to get an associate's degree, 2 years of college under your belt as well. So there's a lot of rigor, there's a lot of challenge, there's a lot of variety, And it really just depends on the students. They're being guided and mentored and advised, and doing their exploratory exercises to determine where they might want to go. But
Yeah.
what's great about these things is that there's so many different ways you can go.
Correct. There are
Mhm.
options. And I think going back to our topic, authentic leadership matters. It's so important that we get our kids ready from the get-go, the early age, because I know of several people, unfortunately, folks that I've done business with who've gone to college, paid for 2 years, and then they dropped out. They're dropping out because they never thought about it strategically to know that it was going to cost money and they need to do work, but also too, they're going in blindly. Whereas with a vocational education, you'll have really a great opportunity to already set yourself up for success. So again, we want to talk about all these things on this show because at the end of the day, we want everybody to succeed. And if you are someone who's out there who's a leader, please keep leading people and showing them the way. But if you are then being authentic, find ways to learn how to be an authentic leader. So Magali, I would like to thank you for being on the show tonight because it's such an important topic for me, because I know for me, my primary goal in life is to lead people to greater things. They said that leaders, we talked about being like pursuing different careers. Sometimes people pursue careers because they think it's going to position them to become leaders. But I think it's so important. If you want to be authentic, follow your purpose, follow your passion, follow the things that you are most passionate about. Because if you do the career you're most passionate about, it'll be so much easier for you not only to be successful, but also to be able to lead other people. So live your purpose, right? Would you agree, Magali?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I definitely glean purpose in the journey, and that's what's taken me to this latest step.
Yeah, live your purpose. And at the end of the day, people will gravitate towards you when you continue to live your purpose. If you want to be an influencer and impact other people, live your purpose. So I just want to again thank everyone for being part of this community. Let's Talk Money with Friends. We would like to encourage you to tag, share, and let your friends know that we are here every Wednesday for you. The topics that we share, they're not entertaining topics, but they're topics that can change your lives or your life. Would you agree, Magali?
Oh, absolutely. From firsthand experience, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So, take your career, take your opportunity to lead, take your opportunity to make a difference very seriously, because your authentic leadership matters. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Magali, and thank you for all of you for watching.